Alright guys, another boatload of new fragrances on the horizon. Which fragrances are you most excited about? Do let us know, add a comment below, but find out about new fragrances soon to drop, coming right up. Thanks so much for tuning in. I'm Sebastian, talking to you about new fragrances. Let me know if there's something that you're really excited about that's on the horizon. And let me know if you bought something that just dropped recently that you really are enjoying. Add a comment below. Before I get started with the list, there's a few news items that I'm going to share with you. One of them was a complete shock to me because I was told this by the owner of the brand. Born to Stand Out has now made a deal with L'Oreal. And even though I reported on Amouage and Jacquemus recently, this is another brand that L'Oreal has taken a stake in. And again, it totally surprised me and caught me off guard because Born to Stand Out is, what, 2.5, 3 years old? So they already have an arrangement with L'Oreal. So L'Oreal seems very hungry to acquire brands. I wonder who it'll be next. There are some really big brands out there, really big, that are prime for this. Let's see what they do. But another little news, KAYALI, the house of KAYALI, which was owned by HUDA Beauty, or part owned I think, has released a brand to go with just the owner of the brand, Mona Katan, and I guess another firm. They have a joint venture together. So interesting, neat things are happening in the world of fragrances. I wonder if this release from Huda Beauty means KAYALI can be sold to another bigger conglomerate. I don't really know, but very interesting news. If you know of any brands you think might get acquired in the future or are primed to get acquired, or have a percentage of stake in with like L'Oreal or something, let me know which brands you consider, because I know there's several out there that I could consider could be in that position, but I want to hear from you guys and what you think. And speaking of KAYALI, they have a brand new fragrance called FLEUR Majesty Rose Royale 31. Now KAYALI keeps cranking a lot of fragrances, and I think this is the first time I'm seeing a rose fragrance come up from the brand. Maybe they have another rose fragrance. I'm not too familiar with the floral fragrances because they have a ton of gourmands that I really enjoy. But this fragrance features notes of mandarin orange, juicy pear, luscious peach, magnolia, peony, rose centifolia, violet wood, dry vetiver, sweet vanilla, pralines, clean musk, ambrox super. Doesn't seem too gourmand to me, but we shall see, because they do quite a bit of gourmands, and I think I like a nice change of pace. By the way, from KAYALI, I really love their Sandalwood fragrances, the wedding duo. Those two are really great. I really love them, and two different Sandalwood fragrances going in different directions, but both of them are really great. And we'll see what this FLEUR Majesty Rose Royale 31 is going to smell like. But BALMAIN has a new fragrance coming soon. This is probably number 7 or 8 of the higher end collection of fragrances. It's called BLANCHE GALAXIE. Let me know if you've gotten your nose on this one. It comes in a really nice, beautiful white bottle that looks really great. But it features notes of bergamot, cardamom, citron, green mandarin, lime, magnolia, myrtle, and patchouli. Let's hope I can get my nose on this one since I'm here in Europe, and maybe it'll launch by the time, or I should say before I leave back to the States. But let me know if you like this line. I'm planning on doing a video on several of their fragrances very soon, mostly after I get back. And if you have a favorite from this collection, let me know what it is. Add a comment below. So we've got a new flanker of Blanche, the very popular Blanche fragrance from the house of BYREDO. Basically, it's the ABSOLU de Parfum. This is the second one now we've got from BYREDO, so it looks like they're going to crank out Absolus, or higher concentrated fragrances. And I always thought that Blanche was a very popular fragrance from BYREDO. Let me know if you're a fan of it. It features notes of musk, neroli, aldehydes, violet, sandalwood, peony, black pepper. Does this sound great to you? Add a comment below. I think the last Absolu of one of their fragrances I felt like definitely was more intense. So there's a trend of creating higher concentration fragrances, and this one is the latest from BYREDO. And also the fact that BYREDO is owned by Puig, and I think they're in it to make a lot of money from this brand, so they're going to keep cranking out a lot of different flankers. All right, then the next fragrance is from the house of Juliette Has a Gun. It's called Miami Shake, and another fruity fragrance from this house. They do quite a bit of fruity fragrances. Let me know if you're a fan of the house of Juliette Has a Gun and what your favorite fragrance is. Lately, I have been a bit underwhelmed from the house. Let's see how this is. Again, it's fruity, and fruity fragrances are very, very popular out there. So maybe this will click with the folks out there in the world that like these kind of fragrances. So it's a milkshake idea with strawberries, I guess. It's wild strawberries, ice cream cone, vanilla absolute, musky whipped cream. Sounds interesting, right? Have you guys gotten your nose on it? Let me know at a comment below. Let's move on to the next fragrance. This is ELIE Sub, a fashion house that's mostly done, I think, couture type clothing. And I think this is the first men's fragrance from this house, created by Pierre-Constantin Garros. It's featuring notes of myrrh, patchouli, cedarwood, vetiver, bergamot, and pink pepper. I'm only hoping that it doesn't smell a lot like every average men's fragrance from the designers, and something very unique. It does come in a really beautiful bottle, so I'm hoping the fragrance or the juice inside will be great as well. And then next, we've got a fragrance from the house of Parfums de Nicolai. It's called Patchouli Spirit. This is patchouli. I guess it's a different take on patchouli because they have patchouli intense. This sounds like it's going to be completely different. It's an Harrods exclusive, I believe. So I'm hoping that it's not going to be exclusive permanently, and we will get a chance to check it out. But it has notes of cinnamon, frankincense, lavender, orange, patchouli, pelargonium, rose, sandalwood, and vanilla. If you've gotten your nose on this one, do let us know, add a comment below. Let's move on to the next fragrance. We're going to the house of Zadig and Voltaire. This is Zadig Eau de Parfum. By the way, I actually smelled this yesterday. I saw it in a store here in Austria where I'm shooting this video, and I looked at the bottle. I'm like, whoa, this is a very interesting bottle. I've never seen a bottle like this. I smelled it and I thought there might be a male equivalent. It's only a feminine targeted release, but it's the most unique bottle, I think. Created by two perfumers, Amandine Clerc-Marie and Florian Gallo, and it has notes of vanilla, chantilly cream, orange blossom, neroli, sandalwood, ginger, white and black pepper, and sesame. Sesame is coming up quite a bit in fragrances. Seems to be a trendy note or trending note. Let me know if you have a favorite sesame fragrance. Add a comment below. But we've got a fragrance next from the house of Diaz and Durga called Brown Flowers. I don't know if I like the idea of brown flowers, but isn't brown a trendy note right now? Mocha mousse is the color of the year from Pantone. So this has notes of akebia, dried cedrat, Queen Anne's lace, brown orchid, coffee flower, sambac jasmine, aged musk, roots, and coffee. What a strange combo, but I like the sound of it. Let's see how it is. I'm a fan of the house. Sometimes they're a bit out there, their fragrances, aren't they? What do you guys think? I do like the majority of their fragrances though. But moving on, I already reported on this in another video, but there wasn't much out there about it. But now we've got some info out there in the world. It's from the house of Maison Francis Kurkdjian, and this is called Kurky, Kurky. It's peaches, raspberry, and rich gourmand musk. This is something completely different than what MFK has done in the past. And it seems young and also kind of gourmand fruity. Fruity notes are very popular lately, and I think they're just jumping on the bandwagon of fruity fragrances. Also, the fact that this Kurky is a nickname that I think Francis Kurkdjian's grandmother gave him, and so since he was a young kid at the time, the inspiration is young, so I think that's what the fragrance is going to appeal to younger folks. We shall see. If you've got your nose on these fragrances so far, let us know. Add a comment below. But let's move on to Azzaro's new Forever Wanted Elixir. I gave up on the Azzaro fragrances Wanted series. It wasn't my favorite, but this one sounds really good, by the way, and it also has a great looking bottle. I want to get my nose on it. It's leather, raspberry, and cardamom, so spicy, fruity leather. It's been done before. Let's see how Azzaro does it. Do they do a good job with it, or does it just smell like a lot of other fragrances? Does it have the same DNA of the original? I don't know, but we shall see. But the bottle is gorgeous, and I'm curious. I've got some curiosity to you about this one. But moving on to the House of Plume Impression. Love No Shame is their latest fragrance. In fact, I got to sample this one during Essence. It's definitely a gourmand fruity fragrance. I'm still favoring Royal Bourbon as my favorite, and then also Murmur d'Eté from the house. But this was pretty satisfactory. It's not like a wow for me, but definitely if you like the kind of creamy, there's a creamy smoothness about this fragrance with a fruity edge. It features chocolate, oud violets, cherries, strawberries, almonds, cinnamon, rose, vanilla, sandalwood, musk, whipped cream. So some of the notes in here do provide that kind of creamy smoothness, so it makes sense. Also, I felt like the fragrance was a bit like a Valentine's themed idea with the kind of notes there are. But moving on to Kajal with Ruby. Sadly, I didn't get my nose on this one during Essence. I'm curious to find out what it's all about, but is it about cherries once again? Are cherries getting a bit boring, by the way? Let me know your thoughts. Are you bored of cherry, or are you really excited about cherry? But Ruby features notes of amber, benzoin, musk, tonka, vanilla, cherries, almonds, red berries, pineapple, coconuts, brown sugar, cream, ice cream, powdery notes. So I spoke to a few folks. There was kind of a toss-up between people liking it. People didn't think very highly of it, so I need to get my nose on it to see what it's all about and see if I like it or not. I mean, I like the idea of cherry, but if it's another fragrance that's kind of inspired by Lost Cherry, I'm over it. On the channel, I have a video on cherry fragrances that don't smell like Lost Cherry. So if you're curious to learn about those kind of fragrances, please check out the channel. Just search for the word cherry and it should pull up all the videos about cherry fragrances. But next, going to the house of Unique Luxury, it's Ocean the Reeve. Sadly, I didn't get to sample this one during Essence as well. I don't know how I missed it, but they were not inside the main hall, so that's why I missed this one. Whereas Kajal was very busy and I missed it because I just couldn't get through. But this fragrance from the house of Unique Luxury features notes of bergamot, mandarin, grapefruit, sea breeze, blue chamomile, basil, armoire, cashmere wood, dry patchouli, lush vanilla, and warm amber. Thoughts on this one? Do you think it sounds great to you? Will you get your nose on it? Let me know at a comment below. But moving on to Jean-Paul Gaultier's Scandal series, we've got now the fourth flanker coming for both the men and women. The Pour Homme Intense. I think it's called Scandal Pour Homme Intense. So we had the Eau de Toilette and I think we had Parfum. But I think the Parfum was concentration Eau de Parfum. Here we have Pour Homme Intense. So I have to see what the concentration is going to be. But the notes are clary sage, vetiver, and leather. Where are the gourmand notes? It seems like they're completely, dropping the gourmand notes because they're kind of chestnut focused, I thought, right? But the women's version is just Scandal, basically, Jean-Paul Gaultier Scandal. And it's Ylang Ylang, vanilla, and cardamom. I did not write down what concentration this is for the ladies either, but it was a bit confusing, so we shall see. But the next fragrance is from Sospiro. It's Il Padrino. Once again, I missed the Sospiro booth because it was really, really packed. But I'm curious to see what this one's all about. It features notes of benzoin, labdanum, vanilla, patchouli, black currant, sandalwood, amber, amaretto, rum, and bergamot. Sounds really delicious. I hope it's good. I haven't heard anybody talk about it, but I didn't really ask. But if you've gotten your nose on Il Padrino, let me know. Add a comment below so we can find out. But the next fragrance from the house of Acqua di Parma is called Buongiorno. So I guess LVMH is cranking out the fragrances for Acqua di Parma. Are they all sticking? Are you guys a fan of Acqua di Parma's fragrances, or do you consider them a bit boring because they're all very fresh? Add a comment below so we can find out. But Buongiorno has notes of spearmint, basil, lavender, rosemary, lemons, petitgrain, mandarin petitgrain, cedar, amber, white musk. So it has petitgrain, also mandarin petitgrain, which basically petitgrain is from the bitter orange tree leaves, and then also mandarin means it's from the mandarin tree leaves. So two kinds. So it's kind of green, leafy, citrusy bitter. I love that about it. And we shall see how it sounds. I like the name Buongiorno. But moving on to Francesca Bianchi, it's the Code of Emotion. I actually got to sample this one during Essence. I really loved it. It's another fougere fragrance, but a fruity one. But to me, even though it has mango in the notes, I felt like it was kind of a green mango or a green skin effect was happening in the fragrance, which I really, really like. It's cedarwood, lavender, mangoes, pelargonium, oak moss, sandalwood, vetiver, exotic fruits, pink pepper. If you're a fan of fougères, guys, you're going to be very happy with this one because it is on the fruity side. But for me, I got that kind of a mango skin effect or something like a green mango effect with this one, which was really, really great. Can't wait for that one to release. It's the Code of Emotion from the house of Francesca Bianchi. Let me know if you've sampled it or if you've sampled any of these fragrances, which ones you're waiting for first, which ones you want to get your nose on first, and also let me know if there's anything else on the horizon that you've heard about that you're anxiously waiting for. Add a comment below so we can find out. Thanks so much for watching today's video. Don't forget to stick around for the bonus fragrances. It's from a brand spanking new house with a bunch of new fragrances that they're dropping, and they're all I guess they're all travel inspired hotel themed fragrances. So let's see how that's going to be. But if you have any questions or comments, please add a comment below. Otherwise, please like this video. Please share it. Follow me on Instagram and Facebook, and I'll be back with more videos very soon. Have a good one. Goodbye. All right, so the bonus fragrances are from the folks behind Palm Angels, and they have a brand called Reservation Fragrances, all inspired by travel and hospitality, and are all created by Jan Bosnier of Givaudan. So there's several fragrances here, all going into different directions, and I'm curious to get my nose on these. Although I feel like they premiered during Aix-en-Provence, I did not know where they were. I didn't see them. Sadly, I didn't, unfortunately. I don't know if they were in the show or was it outside. I don't know, but let me know if you guys have heard about this. Let me know if you know Palm Angels, and if you've gotten your nose on these fragrances from the folks behind Palm Angels called Reservation Fragrances. And again, all of them are created by Jan Bosnier of Givaudan. I kind of like this guy's fragrances. He's done some Tom Ford fragrances and various other brands, and it's interesting that they picked one perfumer to create all of the fragrances for one line, from the launch of one line, which to me, I find that to be better than going from one to the other, because one perfumer will have a DNA and there will be a cohesive DNA running across all the fragrances. But sometimes when they're all different perfumers from different firms, like if you use somebody from Givaudan, somebody from IFF, from somebody from Maniche, and even go to the smaller firms, there won't be a lot of DNA. There might be, but not smelling identical. Here, they've used one perfumer to create all of the fragrances. So most likely these fragrances are going to have a DNA running across them. And even though it's one perfumer from one house, which means he might use similar ingredients for all the fragrances and so on. So the first fragrance is called Late Night. Again, created by Jan Bosnier. This features notes of sandalwood, cardamom, saffron, tobacco, patchouli, vetiver, milk, and spices. I like the idea of milk and fragrances. Recently, I smelled fragrance from the house of, the new house of Bertrand de Chafour, his fragrances, called L'Anthropiste. There's an incense with milk. It was fantastic. I absolutely loved that fragrance. And let's see how it's used in Late Night. By the way, I didn't mention the bottles. I feel like the bottles are a bit simplistic and not a lot of thought went into the bottles. The caps seem nice for these fragrances, but the bottles seem extremely simplistic. What do you guys think of the bottles for these fragrances? Let me know. Add a comment below. The next one is called Riviera Californienne. So California's Riviera, kind of, is that what it translates to? I don't really, that's what I'm getting, I'm gonna say. But it's featuring notes of tonka or tonka beans, amber wood, coffee, immortelle, sea notes, citruses, elemi, and salt. This one I would use caution with, but it kind of has ambery notes and woods and gourmand notes in addition to the sea notes and the salt. So let's see how it's done. I'm slowly opening up to a lot of marine notes. As long as they're not using an overdose of seaweed or cologne or something, I think it'll be fine. This next one's called Sweet 909. Again, these are all hotel, travel, hospitality inspired fragrances. I like this concept. What do you guys think? I travel a lot, and I'm staying in hotels a lot, so kind of for me it makes sense, but might not make sense for you. But this one, Sweet 909, features notes of Akigala wood. There's the infamous Akigala wood from Givaudan. A lot of Givaudan perfumers use this note, like Quinton Biche, but it's Akigala wood, pink and black pepper, Georgie wood, another proprietary Givaudan note, juniper berries, lemons, and cedar. This one seems a bit boring and simplistic, although I do really enjoy Akigala wood. We'll see how it is. Seems like a spicy, woody fragrance. But the next one's called Jasmine Haze. Is jasmine becoming a trendy note? Recently we had Jasmine Freak from Room 1015. Here we have Jasmine Haze, and this one features notes of tobacco, honeysuckle, bergamot, jasmine sambac, patchouli, and musk. I like the idea of combining jasmine with tobacco. Amouage's portrayal woman is so good. It's jasmine and tobacco with, I believe, amber in the notes as well. I love that fragrance, even though it's feminine targeted. I feel like a man can totally pull that off. The combo of the tobacco and the jasmine is top notch. So this one sounds great to me as well. The next one's called Blue Piscine. Blue Piscine is obviously is a swimming pool, I believe is what piscine is. So blue swimming pool, lavender, juniper berries, green mandarin, geranium, rosemary, thyme, lime, vetiver, cypress. This one sounds a bit more like a fougere. No sea notes or like marine or aquatic notes in this one. All lots of aromatics. I like the name, and I like the sound of the fragrance, so let's see how this is. But the next one's called Chambre Secrète, like a secret room. Is that what it translates to? Again, I'm not the best in French, but I kind of know some words. So this is spices, cigarette, incense, labdanum, vanilla, Akigala wood, frankincense, and citruses. I love the idea of this one. I like it when they add cigarette rather than tobacco, because we know tobacco is in cigarettes, but cigarette could mean like the ash and all that kind of stuff as well. So I like this one. This one sounds great. It's a secret room where you would go smoking. I don't know, maybe something like that. The next one's called Feu de Rose. Obviously with the word rose in the name, it's a rosy fragrance. Leather, rose, cloves, styrax, sandalwood, cedar, labdanum, and nutmeg. So it's a spicy ambery rose. There's a ton out there. I kind of am not the biggest fan of this genre. There's ones that I like and there's a lot I don't like. So let's see how this turns out. Styrax is a love it or hate it note. I like it in little quantities, but this one does have spices and ambery touches. And that's pretty much it. Those are all the fragrances launched by Reservation Fragrances, the folks behind Palm Angels. What do you guys think of these? Do they sound great to you? What are your thoughts on any of the fragrances, and which one sounds the best to you? I know there's a ton of new brands launching all the time, and I think we'll see it continue until there's something major and dramatic happens where people will have to resort to stopping. But I would expect more brands to launch, not with just one fragrance, but like 5+ fragrances. It's a bit too much and overwhelming, I think, when a brand launches with that many fragrances at once. But these people seem like they have a lot of money behind them, so they will launch as many as they can, so they can, dominate the market with all the varieties of options available from one fragrance. But let me know your thoughts on these fragrances from Reservation Fragrances. Does the concept sound great to you? Do any of the fragrances sound great to you? Do add a comment below, and thanks so much for watching, and stay tuned for another video soon. Bye-bye.